looking at, whether or not it's possible for folks to comply with the new legalization initiatives, or who's benefiting from those initiatives. And my sense is that it's folks who have more capital.
Cannabis in California already is a $22 billion industry, including medical marijuana and a black market that accounts for most of that total. Medical marijuana has been legal since 1996, when California was the first state to approve such a law. The cannabis industry is becoming more and more mainstream every day.
Currently, the cannabis industry is different from other industries because of the demographics of the labor workers. While there are stories of trimmigrants coming to work on cannabis farms, locals make up about 90% of the farm workers in southern Humboldt County, a part of the Emerald Triangle that encompasses Humboldt, Mendocino, and Trinity counties. That's not to say that these groups have not experienced risk. Oftentimes, workers on black market farms are deliberately blindfolded so that they don't know where they are, and the working conditions are harsh.
I'd have to admit the specific location I was working at, the living conditions were rough. So there was, no running water, no running power. Some people did seem to have certain health problems, but there was also some cannabis we were working on that had mold, and we had to keep the space as closed up as possible.
According to Prop 64, businesses need to acquire a state license to sell marijuana for recreational use. Local governments could also require them to obtain a local license. The language of the bill promised that the non-medical marijuana industry in California be built around small and medium-sized businesses. To honor this goal, the bill included a provision banning license for the largest scale cultivators for the first 5 years of the program. Oh, here you are! However, while those larger scale cultivation licenses are still banned, the regulations nonetheless allow for single corporations to collect a limited number of small-scale cultivation licenses.
Small farm owners are also disproportionately impacted by the strict environmental regulations imposed by Prop 64. In order to prevent pesticide and fertilizer pollution along with the illegal water diversion, state regulations force farmers to comply or risk having their license revoked. In order to meet the required standards, farmers must spend a significant amount of money to maintain environmentally friendly farms. In some cases, that oversight can cost between $25,000 to $100,000, which could easily put smaller cultivators out of business and deter potential small-scale growers, as only the larger corporations can cover the necessary running costs.
Here, it's especially important to consider the waging of the war on drugs that really came to fruition under the Reagan administration. Because of the war on drugs, many communities of color, predominantly, were imprisoned for nonviolent drug offenses. Now, with the legalization of marijuana, white entrepreneurs in the Emerald Triangle in Northern California, especially in Humboldt County, are able to profit off of the newfound economic boom that the cannabis industry is promising.
I think there are both pros and cons for Prop 64 in dealing with labor issues. I think that the pros are that they can have access to more resources, they can unionize, a lot of their resources and kind of activities can be more mainstreamed, and there might allow for a lot more worker protections. But I also think that there are some downsides associated with it. A lot of the income in the community comes from working on cannabis plantations or farms, and I think that a lot of that might be going away soon if the industry is now dominated by larger farms and larger organizations, and those communities that are so strongly relying on working on cannabis farms might be hurt in the process as well.